Previously on Video Game Hangover.
The voiceover on that one, because it sounds like he almost forgets to say the 4. He's like, Resident Evil 4!
Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover, the podcast for gamers who can't wait to ride an ATV off the side of a mountain, deploy a parachute, land on a jet ski, ride it to a golf course, and play 9 holes with their friends in GTA 5.
That game.
Holy crap, that trailer was awesome. I cannot wait to play that game.
You and
I want to
couple other
do all
people.
of those things. Yeah, right. Is it wrong that everything I want to do in GTA 5 does not involve playing the main story?
Playing the actual game, right? No,
Playing the actual game, yeah.
I imagine you're in the majority there.
Each week on VGH, we'll discuss the games that have been keeping us up late and break down a gaming-related topic. On this week's show, we're talking about the best and worst video game collector's editions and our obsessive needs to collect everything relating to our favorite games. In the Hangover this week, we'll chime in on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Steamworld Dig, and Divekick. Divekick? That's what it's called. Not Punch Kicker.
No, that's another game.
That's something else.
Fight Puncher?
Kick Puncher 2, codename Punch Kicker.
Yeah.
A Tale of Two Kicks.
Gun shooter, the Legend of Shoot Gun. I don't know.
Right, exactly. I started with a community rant. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I don't either.
Finally, we've also got a quick update on our summer Backlog Attack, and we'll wrap things up with Last Call. As always, time permitting. I'm Randy Dickinson, and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm DJ Ross, and I'm in Mountain View, California.
And I'm Matt Kernan in Denton, Texas.
Oh, it's this guy.
Hello.
What are you doing here? We'll let anybody in here, apparently.
I think Paul, his backlog ate him alive or something.
He's probably just, he has business to attend to in Animal Crossing or something.
Right, sure.
I don't know.
Important.
Got a hot deal on these turnips.
Business.
Yeah.
Hot turnips.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Does anybody get excited about turnips? I don't think so.
I'm more of a beets guy.
You mean beets, really?
Beets, really?
Roasted beets?
Roast-
Dude, I'm a
Little
vegetarian.
salt.
I won't even eat that crap.
Put them on a pizza, maybe?
Beet pizza.
I never tried that.
Yeah.
Anyway. we'll table the beets discussion for now.
Right,
Come back to
exactly.
that.
Drop the beets.
Oh.
God.
I had to.
Man.
I'm glad you did. Thank you. Viewer mail, DJ.
We got some viewer mail. Get us out of there, wherever that was going. We actually have this comment overlooked a couple weeks ago, but we wanted to make sure it got read on here because I think it's a pretty good question from Goldbug74 on Twitter. It says, question for you. Other than GTA 5, what is going to keep your current systems hooked up and in use when the next-gen systems come out? Is this something you guys are planning to do, or have you already figured out you have a next-gen transition plan already?
I'm definitely keeping my PS3 hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan, just keep everything plugged in.
Yeah.
You guys get an Xbox?
Eventually. Not at launch.
Not at launch. Yeah. Someday. There's still a lot I want to play on the PS3 in addition to the games
Yes.
I'm
we've
trying to
clearly demonstrated the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Sure. Well, in addition to the games I'm trying to clear out of my backlog, there's still a hard drive there full of stuff that someday I hope to get to. So
Yeah.
I still want to keep that stuff around, and I want to play Last of Us again at some point, and I would love to play Tomb Raider one more time. And so I'm not done with the PS3, and there's going to be a lull. There's always a lull. Once new systems come out where everybody's sort of like, it needs more games. So during that lull, I fully intend to play PS3 and Xbox 360 games.
Yeah. I could probably sit out the next generation if I really wanted to. Just play
Totally.
PS2 and 3 games, but I don't have that much willpower.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is I don't need a PS4. I certainly am not hurting for games, but I want a PS4.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to be playing Watch Dogs on the PS3. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
Last week I called out some iTunes reviews, or I call out the fact that I hadn't been calling out iTunes reviews, and I promised you guys we would get to some of them this week. So
this is the calling out of the calling out.
Yes, this is a call out to the return. But so here we have a couple. We have some. You guys gave us some fantastic iTunes reviews, so thank you very much. And
Absolutely.
We're sorry we didn't get to them sooner. I'm not even going to read the dates on these things because they're a bit old, but still very kind nonetheless. We have a comment from Magidraki saying, "It's tough for me to get invested in podcasts, but video game Hangover is a great listen. Randy, DJ, and Paul are all super knowledgeable, funny guys who would be good enough to listen to on their own." So I guess that's the official announcement that we're splitting off to do our individual projects.
Solo project.
We've decided to see other people. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, look for that next week. I don't know. That was
great.
Yeah, that's very good.
Well, that's very inspiring to hear, and we've had some weeks where we have to sit out, and we all feel bad about that occasionally. Paul's off this week, but we've got folks chipping in, and it's good to know that we can kind of stand on our own when we have to. So that's cool. We appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, thank you very much, Magidraki. Then one more comment from Kenji Salk, a familiar name there. Saying these guys run a really entertaining show. You get a lot of well thought out views on game design, the art of the medium, as well as friendly banter amongst friends. These guys clearly know what they're talking about and have the skills to express it in an engaging way.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Kenji Salk.
Wait, that was Video Game Hangover?
That's us. That's this show, Randy.
Wow.
In fact,
I wasn't aware that we were doing any of that stuff, but cool.
Apparently, we're resonating with some people.
Excellent. No, seriously, we appreciate it, Nathan. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you to say.
Thank you very much. And then finally, one quick review from Half Moon Incorporated says, "Best podcast ever."
Wow.
He just leaves it as that.
Wow. That's not at all
We'll take it.
hyperbolic.
Yeah.
I think he meant only podcast ever.
Only, but yeah, are there other podcasts? I don't know.
What?
I don't listen to anything else.
Video Game Hangover. We invented the medium.
I turn on my iPod and this is the only thing on there.
It's just one episode over and over and over.
Yeah, one really 10-hour long episode.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, that wraps it up for viewer mail this week. Thank you very much. Keep the iTunes reviews coming. We really appreciate them, and we promise if we notice some new ones in there, we will read them off in a timely manner.
Sure.
Okay.
At least within 12 to 18 months of them getting published.
Within the
6 to 8
fiscal
months
year.
yeah.
Right, sure, right. Certainly before the end of the first quarter of 2015.
Right.
Cool. So let's get into the backlog. I don't have much to update. I've been playing new releases, distracted by new releases, unfortunately. So I put a little more time into Resident Evil Revelations. Not much to add to my opinion from last week. The controls are still clunky, but it's still a fairly engaging Resident Evil game.
Haven't tabled it.
I'm committed to this one. Guys, God is my witness. I am gonna finish one game on my backlog list.
That's admirable.
And while we're sort of on the topic of backlogs, the next thing on my list is the new Army of Two game, which I believe is subtitled The Devil's Cartel. And if there is someone within the sound of my voice who actually owns a copy of this on the PS3 and would like to be my Army of Two buddy, get in touch with me on Twitter at Randy_rect, or email me randy@vghangover.com, and we'll set something up. But it's got to be PS3. That's where I have it on. I kind of don't want to play it alone. I feel like it's sort of best co-opt, and certainly best mocked ceaselessly by the people playing it. So,
it's an extra level there.
If somebody wants to Mystery Science Theater 2000 Army of Two with me, get in touch.
Cool. So, make that happen. I want to hear about that. That's it for your backlog?
That's it. That's my lame backlog attack for this week.
All right. I'm still working through Shadows of the Damned. That's in my backlog. I was actually I thought I was gonna have it finished by the time we started recording, but it turns out that game is much longer than I thought. Maybe not too much longer, but it's taken a while longer. I'm still enjoying it for the most part. I'm finding though that while the shooting is really solid, that's kind of Shinji Mikami's wheelhouse, I assume. There's so much other stuff going on in that game that tries to do all these branch off in these weird directions, and a lot of the time it's kind of half-assed, and that part I'm not liking so much. So
what specifically do you find half-assy?
there's like I don't want to give this is kind of an old game, but I still don't want to give too much away. But there's like parts of the game where you're doing these. The one part I'm talking about specifically, I guess, is like it turns into a side-scrolling 2D shooter at one point, actually
yes.
at several points. And the first time that happened, I was like, oh, this is unusual. This is very clever because it's like this kind of funny paper cutout art style as well. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, well, the mechanics in that part were kind of frustrating, and it went on for a little too long. It definitely outlived wore out its welcome. And then they make you do it like 2 or 3 more times. So it's like, oh, it keeps coming back. And they did this a couple other times too, where there's like, oh my god, there's this one section called the Big Boner. Yeah, you remember this part?
I do. How could I possibly forget?
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe this was happening in the game. And this part, maybe I don't want to give away, just because it's unbelievable how far they've run with this joke. And the whole game is kind of sprinkled with like boner humor and innuendo.
Oh, totally.
Like the gun, like your gun is called the boner. I mean, ostensibly because it shoots demon bones, but also because they love to do the boner jokes. And so there's this one part where it turns into the Big Boner, and it's completely absurd and over the top. And if you have no intentions of playing this game, definitely look up the Big Boner on YouTube.
Specifically on YouTube.
Shadows of the Damned in the search box, so you don't end up with something else.
Keep safe search turned on.
Yeah. Oh man, but it is ludicrous, and I was like in awe the entire time.
Send your best Big Boner videos to @medley.
No. Yeah. Oh god.
Or Vines.
Right, yeah. Right, or you're fine. Say send your 6-second Big Boner videos.
But anyway, so it was hysterical, and
that's sort of the thing that I kind of both love and hate about any Suda 51 joint is that it really is kind of everything but the kitchen sink, and it doesn't always work. But I just sort of love the non sequitur kind of insanity of it. And it's sort of wondering constantly, like, what are they going to do next to sort of be shocking and be crazy and be provocative and just be random and ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, so my point with that was that it was like hilarious to start with, but then it like the shooting thing, it went on for way too long, and the gameplay wore really thin at the end. But I was going to ask you, since you're you're definitely more of a Suda fan than I am. Like, is this you think that's his doing, these kind of spin-off sections of the game? He likes to mix it up.
Geez, I don't know. I'm not sure how much. I know this is one of the games that he produced, right? He's not necessarily the director on this one.
Yeah, there are like a whole bunch of different names attached to it, so I'm not sure how much to credit him with.
Right, and where to sort of draw those lines back, but to their origin. But I don't know. I would like to think so. And again, I think it's that sort of kitchen sink mentality where he does throw a ton of sort of seemingly disparate things into a game, and when it clicks, like Killer 7, it's awesome and it's interesting and it's engaging and random and brilliant. But when it doesn't, kind of like Lollipop Chainsaw, it really just sort of feels like you're getting beat up by the same lame punchline over and over.
Yeah, I mean that seems like it's kind of the common thread I hear when somebody brings up one of his games, where it's like a really out there premise and it seems really fresh and clever, like Lollipop Chainsaw or like No More Heroes. And then people are like, well, I wish there was a better game.
Right.
Like the game lived up to the creativity behind it. And that's...
Well, and it's hard to make something consistently funny in its 9th hour, in its 11th hour,
yes,
without sort of continuing to up the stakes and up the ante and up the shock value, as it were. And that doesn't always work either. So it's a fine line, and it doesn't always work, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah. I'm still appreciating it somewhat. I don't know. Maybe
he's got a new game, Killer is Dead, is out next week,
soon,
I believe.
Soon.
I've not seen much. A couple of optimistic reviews, but I'm curious. And certainly there's kind of a weird purge of games coming out, and then the end of August here, early September, trying to get ahead of GTA 5. But I'm curious. I'm I certainly am a fan and would like to play it.
Yeah. I want to get more into his back catalog because I've neglected those, and I think I own many of them, actually, also still in my backlog.
Right.
Gonna get through this, though. I'm right at the end, and then we're moving on to the next thing.
Cool. Matt, you're generally pretty disciplined about keeping up with your games, but I also know that you have kind of a ridiculous digital backlog. I mean, have you taken advantage of your lull this summer to play any interesting stuff from the back catalog?
Not a ton. I mean, I did a little bit of work on my backlog sort of before you guys started your backlog contest thing. Before you guys started going through yours. I remember I played some of Bulletstorm. I kind of petered out like a third of the way through.
That's a fun game, too.
And I finished a couple of other things. For the life of me, I can't even remember what they were anymore.
I've totally put you on the spot at this point, but
yeah, nothing too amazing.
You would remember if it was amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look it up. So it must have been just kind of ho-hum.
Right.
But I'm kind of, I mean, I'm happy to be here, but I'm bummed Paul's not here to talk about his, because I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about Spec Ops The Line. So,
just as an update, Paul finished Spec Ops.
Yeah.
And we're waiting on his impressions.
Keep an ear out for that.
Vague excitement about the ending, but yeah, we'll have to see what his closing thoughts on that are next week.
Yeah.
So we've been challenging our community to keep up with the backlog purging through the summer. We've got some cool comments that we pulled out of our feedback from this week. I want to give a shout out to our buddy Goldbug74 on Twitter. He said that he finished up Saints Row 3 and XCOM, and he's currently working on Spec Ops, and he's got 2 episodes left in The Walking Dead, trying hard to catch up. He had expressed some frustration with really, really long load screens after every death in Spec Ops was kind of slowing down his progress.
Oh man, there was some of that going on in that game.
There was a bit of that, yeah. But this is quite a list. I mean, these are some of. I've not played XCOM, unfortunately, that's on my list. But dude, Saints Row 3, Spec Ops, Walking Dead, those are really, really good games. So I'm glad people are still playing them. And Goldbug, I hope you're having a good time.
Yeah. Plus, getting through Saints Row 3 and hopefully XCOM, those are not quick games to go through.
No, those are quite a meaty accomplishments. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remembered what I played.
Dead.
It was Metro 2033 and Singularity.
Oh, cool.
Singularity was not super memorable. Metro was pretty good though.
Yeah, I think Metro is the next thing on my list, so I'll let you know how that goes.
I did that like kind of late spring, early summer window.
Yeah.
Singularity is one of my bargain bin favorites.
Yeah, I mean I liked it. It just wasn't like. It didn't really stand out amongst other things I've played.
Right. And that's what makes it a bargain bin favorite.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to Jeb Lucas on Twitter, who tweeted us with Backlog Ray Win, Sword and Sorcery EP finally cleared, and then he sent us a screenshot of his clear file.
Oh, cool.
That's one of those games I really enjoy in theory, but every time I've tried to play it, I just get so sleepy.
That happens to me too. Same thing.
I don't think it's a slight against the game. I mean, the game isn't especially like action heavy. It's like a point and click adventure essentially, but like the whole atmosphere and like the soundtrack, especially by Jim Guthrie, is fantastic. And
it's pretty and it has awesome music.
Yeah, I usually play it with headphones on, like on the couch, and it just like it's so relaxing. It just puts me to sleep.
I think it recommends that you play it with headphones. Isn't there a little splash screen that comes up and says, put on your headphones now? Yeah.
I was playing that on... Go ahead.
I was going to say I've never finished it at all. Unfortunately, I have not gotten to the end. So big props to Jeb Lucas because I haven't gotten there.
Yeah, I was playing it on my iPad back around the time it came out, and my daughter wiped out my save.
Oh, no.
So she she wanted to play it. She started all over. I was like, I mean, I'm glad you're playing it, but it doesn't have multiple save slots.
Why did it have to be this way?
I know. And I just never went back after that.
Oh, I really liked what I played of it, but I'm just a sleepy guy. Anyway, well, props to you, Jeb Lucas. Those are our backlog announcements of the week. We got some really great feedback from everybody in the contest, though. So thanks to everybody, and we'll have another. We do have another challenge for you.
Yep.
You sent us some great photos last week. Those are very cool. Retweeted a few of those. This week's challenge, we're giving away an amazing prize, which is the fall release game of your choosing. So as the weekly challenge, all you need to do is tweet us, blog us, email, whatever, the game you are playing for. And if you're tweeting us, I guess put what am I saying? Hashtag Backlog Attack in there, just so we can find it. But I think it'll be interesting to know what's everyone... God, my mouth is not working tonight. I'm sorry.
It'll be interesting to know what everybody is looking forward to this fall.
Yeah, there we go.
We keep coming back to GTA, but we know that there's a hell of a lot more out there. We're certainly not writing off the potential for folks getting in on next-gen games as well. Our money spends just as good on those too. So let us know what you want to play. Tweet us, email us, blog us, whatever. But use the hashtag Backlog Attack. This is non-binding too. We'll absolutely give you the opportunity to change your mind if you should win. So
yeah.
But we're just curious to see what everybody else is excited about.
We do have it does wrap up before GTA comes out though. So if that's your game, we can make that happen.
Right, and we are at the halfway point on this thing right now with our community. So you guys have about 2 weeks left to try to make some strides to cross stuff off of your lists, and we will do the same.
Yeah, one way or another.
Hell or high water. So let's get into the Hangover, where we talk about the games we've been playing lately. Matt, you're our guest of honor this week. Why don't you kick us off?
Well, I got a couple of games I've been playing, both relatively brief. First one is a little game called Divekick. You heard of this game? This Divekick?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's
a game where you dive and then you kick.
You dive. So it's a 2D 2-button fighting game. You can dive.
I was going to say that's sort of the conceit of it is you dive and you kick.
You kick. And
sounds like my speed on a fighting game.
And there's not even like directional movement.
No directional movement.
Oh, really? Okay.
No D-pad, no sticks. Purely 2 buttons. If you're on the ground and you push the kick button, you'll kind of hop back a little bit. So, and the in-air dive kick, the titular dive kick, is kind of diagonally forward. So you are constrained to those movements as far as how you traverse the screen. It's the kind of thing that kind of almost sounds like a joke or a parody game at first blush. But the mechanics are super, super tight. And it actually is really, really fun to play if you're into 2D fighting games and just this silly zaniness that comes with being incredibly constrained on how your movements. And the other kicker, no, I guess pun intended, but there's no, it's all one hit matches. Like there's no health meter. You just one hit and it's over. And then the next round. And it's, by default, it's like best of 5. So it could go on for 20 seconds. It could go on for 1 second. You never really know, but I
really love the concept behind it because I'm totally fascinated watching like high level Street Fighter or whatever fighting game of your choice, because there's you can just if there's a commentator especially, you can hear all the strategy and the thought that goes into it, and you realize oh wow, there really is a lot of these games are a lot deeper than they first appear, and this seems like it's kind of a distillation of all that into really simple mechanics that hopefully are easier for people to wrap their head around.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And then my 6-year-old daughter was playing it with me last night.
Yeah,
because it's just 2 buttons. But exactly what you
and
just
holding
said.
Her own, or
no, yeah. And my wife was laughing in the other room because she'd be like, "Daddy, I kicked you." But yeah, exactly what you're saying. It's distilled down to the most basic elements, but it still has that sort of ability for high-level technical play too. It seems like, because it's all very specific. And there's a couple other little things that aren't super obvious right away. Like there are meters that build up, and you can press both buttons at the same time for a little special meter attack or a special move of some sort. And the characters are all weird and zany, and I have never really been much into fighting games, and I don't have any exposure to the quote-unquote fighting game community, really. But this seems almost like it's a love letter to the community. It seems like there's a lot of in-jokes and humor from people who follow tournaments and watch live streams and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
from what I can tell, because I mean it's all referencing stuff that I'm not getting, so I have to assume so. But yeah, I mean it's only $10, and you get it's crossplay, so you get the PS Vita and the PS3 version. So that's awesome, and it's got local multiplayer as well as online multiplayer. So I think
I'm pretty curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like fighting games, or maybe you've always kind of been put off by the complexity of fighting games, and this sounds cool to you, it's worth it.
That's me. A lot of fighting games just seem completely inapproachable because there is a catalog of moves you have to know. It's just so dense, and I could not possibly keep that information in my brain. So a 2-button fighting game sounds kind of an interesting and approachable solution.
It's a lot of fun so far. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Cool. What's the other thing you're playing?
The other thing I'm playing, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
A Tale of Two Brothers.
A tale of sons who are brothers of each other. You heard of this game?
I guess by default you are brothers of each other.
Yeah, this came out on Xbox Live Arcade a couple of weeks ago, and it I had seen
one of the Summer of Arcade games, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was the first one. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'd followed the development or anything, but I had seen a little trailer here and there, and I was that looks like it could be kind of neat, and I was blown away. Like my expectations were almost nothing. So when I actually played the game, I had a really, really great experience with it. And I know this is probably annoying to a lot of people, but it's one of those, I don't want to say too much about the game, but it's kind of, it is kind of one of those kind of games.
Okay.
But so I'll give you the basics. It's kind of this picturesque sort of storybook setting, and you simultaneously control these two brothers. They don't really have names. They're just like little brother and big brother. And it's a twin stick game as far as the controls go, but the left stick controls one brother and the right stick controls the other brother. So think of it as a co-op game designed to be played by one single person.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that works mechanically ends up being really, really neat in terms of how it relates to the story. Because you have to sort of, we as game players are not really programmed to move things around with the right stick. We're usually sort of aiming things or moving a cursor around. So to have to move two objects independently kind of takes a little bit of getting used to.
I would imagine, yeah.
And in a sense, that's kind of like the brothers learning to work together as you go on this adventure together. But the setup is that your father is deathly ill, and you have to go on this crazy journey across the land to get find some special tree with life-saving water or something. And it goes to some neat places, and it's really cool. I liked it a whole hell of a lot.
So is it like I forget if you mentioned, but it's like a puzzle game,
It's kind of
adventure game.
Adventure game, yeah. So I mean, there's aside from the sticks to move the characters around, the only other buttons are each trigger is sort of an interact button. So it's more just finding what to do, and there's some mild puzzles. There were a couple that threw me for a loop, but I think the whole game is probably only 3 or 4 hours long. And it's a very heartfelt experience, I would say.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I sort of find interesting, and kind of the only thing that I know about it, is that it's Starbreeze is the developer.
Yeah, which is weird.
And they did the Darkness 2, I believe, which I loved.
I think they did the first Darkness.
Oh, was it the first one? Okay,
I think so. I think Digital Extremes is the second one. I think.
Oh, okay, man, I screwed that up then. But they also did the Riddick games for the original Xbox, which I like too. Which is
kind of random connection.
It is, huh? It sounds like a billion miles away from what they're doing here too. So that's it's interesting to see.
Well, and
my God! Wait, is the dying father Vin Diesel?
Is it right?
Yes, and he
blind. Can see in the dark. Right.
They did Syndicate a couple years back too, didn't they?
Oh, right. Okay, there you go.
So yeah, it was like
you and I played together.
Yeah, like both mechanically and thematically, this seemed like such a departure for Starbreeze. But I was really impressed with how they executed on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they apparently had some... I forget which country, and I don't want to sound insensitive and just pick one out of the air, but some foreign film director sort of was at the helm of the project at Starbreeze. But he did a really good job.
Kind of a creative influence.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Well, there's both of those sound super interesting.
Oh, so
and
Brothers, though only out now on Xbox Live Arcade, it'll be on Steam on the 28th, and then PS3 on September 3rd. And I highly recommend it.
Yeah, cool. I've been playing this cool little game from the Nintendo eShop called Steamworld Dig.
I heard things about this game.
Yes, I've heard some things. This is recommended to us by Jeb Lucas, whose name we've said a few times on on Twitter. It was not something that I even knew existed, unfortunately. I feel real bad that a lot of that the eShop stuff kind of goes over my head or under my feet, I guess, sometimes.
There's like a lot of really good stuff in there that people are like huge fans of, and they just do no marketing for it, which is
they don't seem to sort of get the conversation going really well, unfortunately. And so big thanks to Jeb Lucas for calling this one out to us on Twitter. And then even bigger thanks to the folks at Image and Form, who is the developer of this game, who kind of eavesdropped on our conversation with Jeb Lucas and was kind enough to send me a free download of the game. So big thanks to them. And what a cool, awesome, fun little game this is.
It's a huge relief.
Yeah, totally, exactly.
And it's terrible.
Thank you for your free game, and it was actually really good. So yeah, I've had a good time with it. It has got me to stop playing everything else I've been playing lately. It has been the only thing that made me go away from the Animal Crossing screen for any prolonged period of time on the 3DS.
Blasphemy.
I know. Still getting in there every day and shaking my trees, of course, but so Steamworld Dig is this cool little kind of like a platformer almost, where you're a little robot cowboy and you move into a desolate desert town to claim your fallen uncle's land, and he has been working his way through mines and unfortunately perished in the process.
Wait. Is your uncle Vin Diesel?
No. Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. He is deceased. That's not a spoiler. It's just the game starts there. So you are mining his land, and you get a pickaxe, and you start digging in the dirt, and you just go, and you break through blocks, and you unearth fun little things buried underneath the desolate country town, with little side hidden areas and puzzle rooms, and there's gems and ore and stuff like that you mine, and you can take those and put them in your bag and bring them back up to the surface and trade those for dollars to buy new resources and a drill and a cool punch glove that allows you to break harder rocks. So as you continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the mines, you get kind of different areas. There's different strata and little discoveries as you go through, and you're shuttling resources back up to the top. And as you're selling ore and gems to the town is developing from the money that you're bringing into it. So on the surface, new buildings are going up and new vendors are coming in. So what it does really, really, really excellently is repetition with discovery. That it really is not a whole lot to it other than dig, avoid, lava and mines and a few little kind of grubby bugs and stuff like that want to eat you. But it really is all about ticking away at blocks to trying to find out what's hidden beneath them and behind them, and then upgrading your ability to dig, your ability to stay underground for longer periods of time, and then going back and doing it all over again. So it's cool. It's simplistic. There isn't a ton to it, but I'm finding a lot of delight in kind of the little secrets that are unfolding as I go.
Oh, so what is there, like an ultimate goal? Is just to acquire enough wealth, or
I'm not sure.
And yet you keep digging.
And yet I keep digging, yeah, because I kind of want to see what's behind that cluster of rock, and there's a little pocket of gems. Let me dig all of those up, and what are they worth? And then if I sell them, I can get this bigger batter drill that lets me drill into harder rock, and then I go even further into the mine. And as you go, there's no map; it really just sort of draws the map of your path as you go.
You know what this means? Randy Dickinson, closet roguelike fan.
But you have to leave yourself a way back to the surface. You can drop little warps that you buy, or you have to be able to sort of climb your path way back. So you have to make sure that mines don't collapse behind you. You have to make sure that you can scramble up the walls, and there aren't any outcroppings that would stop you from being able to do so.
So there has to get stuck.
You can self-destruct and go back to the surface, but you have to, you give up everything that you've mined and half of the money you're carrying. So again, there's that sort of resource thing that you sort of like, everything that you've accomplished, screw that shit. Yeah, you screwed up. So there's some puzzle elements to it, but it is that sort of repetition and discovery that keeps me going back. I'm at a point now which I believe genuinely is the end of the game, and I've unearthed kind of something underground that is very surprising to me. I was like, this is interesting. I didn't think it was going to go here. And as I'm shuttling gems back up to the surface, all the little townspeople are like, you found what? What is going on down there? I can't believe that. So I'm like, what am I building towards? And there aren't a lot of clues. There's no bosses. There's really not a lot of big enemies or anything like that. So it really is kind of just sort of peeling back the layers of this thing and sort of glorying in the sense of discovery. But, yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's like, I can't stop playing this game, and I'm sort of slowing down now because I kind of don't want it to end, even though I feel like I'm approaching the end of it. But, for it's a $9 game. It's on the Nintendo eShop. If you have a 3DS and you're jacked into the internet, go in and get this game because it's really, really good. You absolutely should play it.
Oh, excellent. And so Steamworld Dig.
Yep.
That sounds awesome. I'm going to get that.
It's a good time, yeah. I would totally recommend it. And I hope I'm not alone in this. I know that I tend to be amused sometimes by strange things in video games, but I'm taking a lot of joy in the simplicity and the sense of discovery. So I think you guys would appreciate it as well, and certainly our listeners too.
Yeah. Next week, Randy plays Spelunky.
Oh.
I'm telling you, this does not sound that far off. I'm kind of surprised that you're into it this much. I was going to say you're digging it, but that's terrible.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Oh, damn. DJ, what are you playing?
No, I was, mostly Shadows of the Damned. Like some Monster Hunter. Yeah. Picked up a 3DS XL from that fantastic Target sale. I'm over it. Yeah. It's bigger.
It is.
It is. I don't know. I was having a hard time with it because, the screen is noticeably worse.
That screen.
The other one, it is bigger though.
It is bigger,
and the hardware is better. Pretty much everything is better about it than the original 3DS, except for the screen looks kind of janky. But like I said, I'm over it, so I'm enjoying it.
Do you feel like you could have just held your other one closer to your face?
I don't know. I mean, I certainly could have.
I bet you didn't even think about that option.
Could have just gotten smaller hands.
It's just it's more comfortable to hold. It fits in your hands a little better.
Yeah.
It's easier to use the stupid on-screen keyboard in Animal Crossing because that was almost impossible before.
Sure.
Oh, it had to be microscopic, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm just trying to forget that out there's another version of this console that did everything worse except the screen looked much nicer.
That is it seems like an unfair sacrifice.
It's kind of weird. You wouldn't think there's so much of it is just straight improvement over the original, but the screen's kind of a major factor when you're playing video games all the time. But like I said, I'm into it.
I don't think I noticed the disparity between the two.
Okay, well, good. Then don't put it completely out of your mind.
I don't know what I was playing when I made the transition, and I don't know that I even sort of tried the same game in both systems to sort of see how they look comparatively. But yeah, I'm satisfied with the way the games look that I play now. But you're a little fresher from the Switch, obviously.
Oh yeah. No, I've completely convinced myself. Not even Not even thinking about it. There's no going back at this point.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into the heart of this week's show. Our good buddy Eric Kubik over on the VG Hangover blog suggested we talk about video game collector's editions on the show. Certainly there are a boatload of really, really cool ones that have come out.
Of those, yeah.
And that are coming out this fall. So this week, in light of the recently released Disney Infinity game toy thing, which, if you do it right and buy it all, is sort of the ultimate collector's edition, we're going to take Eric's idea and kind of run with it in a conversation not just about collector's edition, but about gaming collections in general. So I guess first out of the gate, do you guys consider yourselves gaming collectors? Do you have, old games and old video game systems that are collecting dust that you refuse to part with?
So I don't really consider myself a collector, but I have this weird quirk where I for some reason, one reason or another, I just never get rid of old games. It's very rare, let me say.
Like good old games? Are they sort of like favorites that you refuse to part with, or do you have every game?
No, I have every game I played.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like, do you get rid of a movie when you're done watching it?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Well, I don't know.
I usually just rent them, so I'm inherently.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot of movies, maybe because I don't want them sitting around, but
right.
I don't know.
Well, this segues to a conversation about my ridiculous Blu-ray collection.
But I don't know. So I've got these shelves of games, and yet I don't really consider myself a collector. I've got quite a collection, that's for sure. Does that make me a collector by definition?
I think it might, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Let me look it up.
Do you have a problem with the word collector?
I don't know. I think collector kind of implies that this is something you seek out. Like you're looking for kind of the rare stuff to add to your library. And I'm definitely not in that category.
Oh, okay. It's sort of like the joy of the hunt. I think that.
Yeah.
Not that kind of collector. You
if there's if I go,
you just don't get rid of stuff, so you're a hoarder.
There you go. That's the term you're looking for. Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't seek out stuff. If I find myself on eBay or wherever, it's because there's a game out there that I haven't played. I'm not like, oh, this game is super rare, I want to own it. That kind of thing. Right. Do you guys do any of that?
Not a lot. This is what I'm about to say is going to sound super douchey. I collect experiences. I don't really.
Oh my god!
I don't really give a shit about the physical
Drop
media.
the mic, walk off the stage.
I don't really care about the physical media. Like if it was a game I just absolutely loved, but I probably won't ever play again, then I don't necessarily feel like I have to hang on to the game. And then you get into sort of the market value, so to speak. Like if let's say hypothetically that The Last of Us didn't have any multiplayer in it. I finished it. I loved the hell out of that game. But I'm not going to turn around and play it right away again. So why not get rid of it while it's worth $25 or $30 as opposed to just hanging on to it forever?
Right.
Anyway, that whole thing was hypothetical because I did hang on to it.
But you do sort of a bit of a revolving door on gaming, though. Cause, I mean, you're an interesting perspective on this because you really don't value the physical media stuff at all. You play it and get it the hell out of your house and apply that credit to a new game.
I mean, in a sense. I mean, there are those games that only had a small print run or, that everybody bought up and now they're hard to find. Like, just the first thing that comes to my mind, which is really weird. I have a copy of Zack and Wiki for the Wii because it was something I had at one point and liked it, but didn't play a ton of it, and then I got rid of it. But then I realized later on, like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. It's getting harder and harder to find these days.
It's like super rare now.
So I tracked it down and picked it up again. So, I don't know. I just kind of feel like these things come and they go, but it's my experience with the game and what I remember of it that's more important to me.
Sure.
Which I know sounds really douchey, like I said.
Are you that way, Matt, with everything sort of that you're into, or do you feel
women,
the same way about movies,
children,
about music? I was going with movies and music and stuff like that, but
movies.
Do you have like a vast CD collection and like a billion DVDs and stuff?
I drew a clear line in the sand once, like digital music was sort of gaining in popularity, and I just went and got rid of all of my physical CDs. I can't
got rid of them, man.
Yeah, I sold them.
I told myself I was going to stop buying CDs, but man, I still got shelves of those things.
Oh yeah, me too.
I
stopped buying them, but I still have them.
Like a shoebox full somewhere, but most of them I got rid of. All the ones they would take. A bunch that my wife owned were all scratched to hell because she didn't take care of things very well. But yeah, I think I've bought one physical CD in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I don't buy movies at all, pretty much. Not even kids' movies, and kids rewatch that crap all the time.
Oh yeah, over and over.
Yeah.
Well, that's on Netflix now anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, as games get progressively more into like as digital distribution gets easier, I can totally see myself like going all digital. I mean, I've tried to on the 3DS and Vita when possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not like, I don't feel tied to the disc as much.
I feel I've been burned a little bit by that because I do want to sort of go paperless, go discless, and try to not have all of this plastic crap cluttering up my life. Moving in the last year was really kind of this eye-opening, as I was stacking up the 17th box of CDs, and I found a crate of brace yourself, of laser discs in my storage unit.
Oh my God, no way.
Yep, I do. I will send you a picture. I still freaking have them.
I'll take your word for it.
That if anybody wants the Criterion collection of Armageddon on Laserdisc,
no, oh my!
I have it.
Just stop talking. Oh God.
And thinking just my weird collectory thing is completely out of control. So I've been trying to break that down.
Came out on Laserdisc.
No surprise. I've been trying to break that down. I've been trying to sort of bring less plastic crap into my house. I've been trying to, and this is not an eco thing. This is just sort of about kind of living a life free of clutter, and which was not something I was concerned about in the first 38 years of my life. But in the last year or so, it's just sort of like, why do I have all of this crap?
Yeah, and I'm kind of getting into that too. I'm just like, well, all this stuff is just here. And
as I was moving
the
Rock Band drum set to the third house I've schlepped it to, I was like, all right, somebody needs to put this in the dumpster while I'm not looking, because I can't have this around anymore. But it's tough to draw that line. I still find that there are games I like, there are bands I like, that I want that thing. I want to, there's a part of me that's trying to sort of relive the experience of skipping my first period of class so I could buy the new Nine Inch Nails CD and listen to it in my car in the school parking lot before going in, and trying to sort of recapture that sense of excitement and enthusiasm about a thing, about a game, about a band that I'm super into. And it's getting harder and harder to sort of find that excitement, because you sort of like turn on PS3, hit download, wait 2 hours and start playing, maybe 2 hours. So it's I don't know, it's hard to get into that sort of sense of enthusiasm for that stuff anymore.
I think like Amazon and just like buying stuff online has totally killed that for me.
Absolutely spoiled.
Which is kind of sad now that I think about it, because I used to love going down to like, oh man, 3 more days till like Final Fantasy comes out. I'm going to go down to the electronics boutique or whatever and come back with this little box. And now stuff just shows up on my doorstep. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's here.
Hey. Yeah, 5:30 on Tuesday is the new 10 o'clock on Tuesday, where it's just like I get home from work and there's that brown box on my step with the Amazon tape on it, and I'm like, ooh, new stuff. I do miss. And this is gonna sound like an old man complaint. I'll let you get in there in a second, man. It's just I do miss my towny little record store where they knew me and what I was into. I miss the cool the nerdy guys that worked at Funko Land who knew what kind of games I liked and what systems I owned and would put stuff aside for me. And I think that still exists in some communities. There is a comic book store in Harrisburg that kind of has fun little arrangements like that with folks. But it doesn't necessarily exist so much in video games and music anymore.
I do find it somewhat ironic that this digital podcast that strictly goes out through the internet is having this topic discussion about physical goods. But reminds
just because we're still working out the details to get the show pressed on disc.
Oh no! See, I had this idea the other day. I'm going to start doing a very individualized handmade podcast where every episode is hand delivered on a cassette tape, and it only exists on cassette.
Podcast by mail.
Mm-hmm. Like bringing back the zines, but for our modern times.
Oh, great,
dude!
Podcast on tape. I'm telling you, it's the next big thing.
Yep. For a certain subset of our listeners, go to Wikipedia right now and look up cassette tape and zine if you have no idea what we're talking about. Anybody under 30 still listening?
Everybody ought to know what a cassette tape is. Because they played Hotline Miami, right?
Okay, well, there you go.
I don't know. But so that's that about actual amassing collections. What about collector's editions? Is that a thing for you guys?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I think, again, because there are still properties that I get super, super hyped about, that despite sort of my bitter jadedness and things were cooler when I was younger, there are still games that come out periodically, like Uncharted 3, where it was everything I could consume about Uncharted 3 in the run-up to that game, despite sort of me saying on the podcast, I need total media blackout, I'm not going to watch any more trailers. That was all a lie. There's just no way I could refuse that stuff because I was super excited about that. So I happily put down $130 for the collector's edition of that.
God. What did that come with?
It was like a big steamer trunk. It was like a cabinet with a door that opened, and there was a pocket on the door that had Uncharted 3 in a steel bookcase, which was super sexy. And there was Drake's necklace and Drake's belt buckle, and there was a statue of Nathan Drake.
Slower.
Slowly working my way down to his waist. No. There was this really, really nice statue of Nathan Drake that came in as well. So I felt like that was totally worth the money, and it is still in a place of pride on the shelves in my spare bedroom.
Oh man.
But I'm a little hyped for the GTA 5 collector's edition, although there's not tons of awesome crap in it, although it just looks kind of nice. I like a steelbook. I'm willing to pay for an upgrade sometimes to have that case. I don't know why.
I really like that the case they did, the steelbook for the Last of Us, because it just had the characters' faces on it.
Oh yeah, that was super nice. That Last of Us, what was that called? The Epidemic Edition or something like that?
Yeah,
that was...
whatever special edition they had. But then it turned out they just put that on the inside of the box, so I did a switcheroo.
You just got to flip over your cover, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I've been I don't know if I was ever really into collector's editions. Like when they first started this like revival, because I think before this generation they're pretty uncommon. But now it's like every single game that comes out has a collector's edition, so you really got to pick and choose. And I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know if that's taken some of the uniqueness or novelty out of it. But most of the time I'm not in for like whatever bonus items they're giving away. It has to be something really unusual.
A lot of gaming now, particularly sort of the pre-launch hype, feels like a money grab. It just feels like anything a distributor can do to sort of bleed a couple of extra bucks out of me. So, we're all hyper aware that we are being marketed to. It's just how much are you willing to accept that? How much are you willing to eat for an extra $20?
Yeah, I can't. I'm actually having a hard time thinking of the ones that I got into recently. I think actually, so I have all the Mass Effect collector's editions.
Oh, really?
But by the time the third game came around, I was also kind of getting sour on the series, and I was like, oh, I was such a huge fan of the first one. I feel like obligated to get this last one. Plus, just to fill out the set. So that was like collecting at its epitome. In retrospect, it's a little ridiculous.
I honestly can't remember ever buying one. So it was either so long ago that I don't remember, or I never have.
Never?
I don't think so. I even asked my wife if she remembered, and she kept naming off like random tchotchkes that were like free promotional items. I was like, no, that was free. That was free.
No, that came in a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
You seem like you're pretty shrewd when it comes to, purchasing games. So I imagine...
well, the first time. But then I always end up getting rid of them and buying them a second and third time.
Over.
Yeah.
Right.
Then all bets
tell our listeners how many times you've purchased Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, God.
3 or 4.
What I was thinking of.
That's a lot.
which wouldn't be a big deal had it not been for the $15 Vita version being one of those. Because that's the dumbest one of them all.
That was like
Matt,
recent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Matt, were you always this guy, or is it because you share your house with kids and a wife? And
It's a little of everything. I share my space, I share my money, I share my time, so it's like, I don't know, there's only so much room in this house that I'm living in, and then, I mean, my kids are slightly older now, but when they were, much smaller, then there's the fear, well, what if I get this fancy little action figure, and then they get their hands on it when I'm not looking, and they snap the arm off or something, so that's a concern, too, and, it's very defeatist, but it's like, why even bother?
and you really just want to play the game anyway, so as long as you get that experience, you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just collector's editions. There's a couple. I took a couple of notes here. One of the ones that I bought recently that I really liked, and this is the inverse of how I actually felt about the game, was the Adventure Time video game. It came out for the 3DS. This is the Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? Yeah. It was the game was okay. It was very, very short. It was a bit of an homage to Legend of Zelda 2, which was kind of a random homage. But the collector's edition was awesome. It was a 3DS game in a steelbook case, which is kind of random and cool. And it came with the guide to all of the beasts that live in the Adventure Time world, which was a really cool read. And it... what else? There was something else in there that was awesome. Oh, and it came with a stylus that looked like Finn's sword. Now, if you're, an Adventure Time fan, you kind of get these references and you think they're kind of cute and funny, but it was just a really, really nice set for only $10 more than the cost of the game. And it was a $30 game. For $40, I got this cool collector's edition with all this fun little Adventure Time stuff in it. And then I'm done with the game. There's nothing else to do in it, but I can't bring myself to give up the set. I keep thinking, I should put that on, Craigslist or eBay. There's got to be a kid somewhere who would be super happy to have that, but I'm not giving it up. I want it. It's mine. You can't have it, kid.
Maybe hold on to it for a few years and see if it's in more demand. I don't know.
Yeah. But the converse, though, I think probably the biggest burn I've ever gotten with a collector's edition is easily Dead Space 2. Because that came with a promised replica of the plasma cutter.
I was going to ask, did that come with the gun?
Yeah, and plasma cutter, easily kind of the iconic game coming out, weapon coming out of the first game, and I was like, oh my god, it's a replica of that. It's going to be awesome, and it comes with a little stand. I can put it on my desk. It's going to be super cool. And you get it out of the box, and it's like 3 inches across. It is. Oh, no. Do you remember in Men in Black where Will Smith had the noisy cricket was the teeny tiny little gun? That is exactly what this thing looked like, and
that's awesome.
Felt so robbed. And at this point, I don't even remember what the premium price on that was, but whatever it was too much.
Not worth remembering.
Nope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel a little burned by the Dead Space 2 collector's edition.
Oh man,
fooled me once.
My favorite one, I had to think about this because this goes back quite a while actually. But for Metal Gear Solid 3, the re-release, the like enhanced re-release, Metal Gear Solid 3's what was it called? Subsistence, I think. Slap a wacky Kojima subtitle on there. They had this limited edition, and I put in my pre-order for that because I was a huge Metal Gear fan, especially the Metal Gear 3. And it came out, and I went and picked it up, and it turned out they were like super limited. They're like really actually limited. Now that limited edition is almost meaningless, but like when Konami does one, take notice because they make like 3 of them. But it came with all these like bonus discs. It came with like this is pretty appropriate for a Metal Gear, but it came with a disc of all the cinematics cut together into a movie. It came with like making of DVD, all this cool stuff. I was very excited, and especially when I found out how rare it was. So I've still got that on the shelf.
That's quite a set, though, and there's like content to that. There's insight into the creative process. There's more to it than sort of here's a plastic gun.
Exactly. Yeah, that was like last generation or 2 generations ago, depending on how you're measuring it. But they weren't in so much. Weren't into the tchotchkes and trinkets as much.
Right. Well, and speaking of tchotchkes and trinkets, I teased at the top here that Disney Infinity had kind of come out this week, and this is the game, for those who don't know, that you have to kind of buy all of these Disney action figures and put them on a little magical space portal to be able to play with those characters in a Disney video game. And there's some rules around that. You can't play characters that don't belong in that world and blah, blah, blah. So you can't use, Jack Skellington in the Monsters universe.
You're encouraged to buy more figures, essentially.
Right, exactly. Buy all the toys, which is sort of the ploy that the Skylanders folks kind of got into for the last couple of years, and we're led to believe they've sold tons of those. So this is... this whole thing just strikes me as crazy. This is like a massive financial investment. I'm not a huge Disney fan. I used to be
It's not really mandatory.
No.
But, like, potentially.
But if you're a Disney devotee, if you love those characters, if you've got kids who love those characters, you kind of want to have that full experience, right?
Well, I mean, if you could also go drop $1,000 on every Disney plush out there. I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't know how essential they are to the game, but
right.
I don't know. I imagine it's few and far between people who pick up or who feel compelled to pick up.
Well, I think it's safe to say that it's called a starter pack for a reason.
Well, right. I mean,
what does that mean? Is that it gives you just a taste of the experience?
Yeah, you don't have to buy extra stuff, but if you get into it, you're sure as heck gonna want to.
I mean,
right.
it's definitely available for you to buy, but I don't think
Yeah.
the average player buys like 40 or 50 different statues. I don't know.
But it's meant to pick at that, right? It's meant to sort
Right.
of hit that completist mentality.
Yeah.
I have a friend, a former coworker, who weekly posts on Facebook, has anyone seen this Skylander figure? If you see it while you're out, pick up one for me. And he and his son are trying to collect all of them. And it does, I think, tap into a certain gotta collect them all kind of mentality to encourage people to shop and to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't go down that road.
Me neither.
I was thinking, like, in conjunction with the not really trying to kind of tone down the collecting a bit, just personally, and this whole Skylanders thing, because, like, the toy integration is really fascinating to me, and I'd like to know more about how it works and how it ties into the game. But, man, if they came out with, like, I'm surprised I haven't already done this, like, a Final Fantasy or a Dragon Quest edition of this, like, oh, man, that would be, like, pretty dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Your Dragon Quest buying thing is a little crazy, right?
Yeah, like I said, I can't believe Square Enix hasn't jumped completely on top of this, because that would, like, conquer Japan, I think. And they're already
or
buying all the
Nintendo, for that
figurines
matter.
and
I mean,
everything.
all of those little characters from that world.
Oh, they've got to have some kind of Pokemon thing in the work. I mean, they've got
Right.
the NFC and the Wii U controller. That's like
Right. Wasn't
set
there
up
a
for it.
thing they showed where you could put the figure right on the Wii U controller and it would blast him into the game?
Yeah, I think so.
Did I dream that? Was that it, Pokemon? Yeah.
I'm sure it's coming.
But yeah, there's got to be a version of that with Mario and Luigi and the rest of those.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, thank you. I got burned on
All right,
collecting when I was a little kid. I had all the Ninja Turtles, and then they brought out new ones, and I was like,
Oh, yeah. You're like, oh, that's how it works.
gotta start all over again. So
There's always somebody trying to ruin your childhood.
I know.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Yeah.
Bastards.
Cool. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. If you have questions or comments about anything we talked about in the show, head to VG Hangover on Twitter or Facebook, or just go to our blog at vghangover.com and let us know what's on your mind. We want to hear about your video game collections. Pictures are nice. You can always tweet those and
Oh,
post
yeah. If
them
you
on
got
the
a
blog.
really cool, well-maintained collection, definitely send us that. We'll post it
Even if
up.
it's not well maintained, send us a picture of your shabby-ass collection.
Yeah. You have to do that for sure.
We can't
We wanna see
guarantee
those
we
too.
won't report you to the show Hoarders, though.
Right. if DJ and I show up on your front porch with a therapist, we apologize. Can we talk about your hoarding's impact on your family? All right, let's say goodnight. This is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
This is Matt Kernan.
Thanks for listening to Video Good Hanging. What do you... Oh, man.
Oh, man.
We were doing so good.
We were doing pretty well. I just want to give one last minute shout out. PAX is next weekend. Can't believe
it
it.
is.
I'm going to be there with some stuff to give out, playing some Monster Hunter. So look me up on Twitter at Medley if you're going to be at the show. It's going to be a good time, guys. Looking forward to it.
Cool. We expect a full report.
Oh, you'll get a full report.
All right, let's try again. Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Good night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Video Game Hangover. Send your questions and topics to us on Twitter at VGHangover, or leave a comment at VGHangover.com and we'll feature the best stuff on a future episode. This week's music is by Disasterpiece from his original albums Rise of the Obsidian Interstellar and Level. Find these and more at disasterpiece.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. I'm surprised that so many people called out in the comments he sounds like Nicolas Cage. Like, I don't think that's some conspiracy.
I didn't get Nicolas Cage. I either got sort of Deus Ex guy or Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah.